Hello everyone, welcome back to our couch series. So this is the first one in the new year. Happy New Year. We thought that today we could discuss the holiday blues and help you out with some tips on how to recover from the holidays. How are you, Ross?
I'm pretty good, actually. I would say it's. I'm a fan of always enjoying the start of a new year. New Year's resolutions, which typically don't last very long anyway. Yeah. But it's nice to have them in your mind as short-term goals or even long-term goals. I'm always a big fan of getting back to work. The main thing about it is routine. Getting back into a routine and a system always helps me to feel like I'm back on track. The downside to that is that sometimes it makes me feel like I never went away at all because I'm so much back into the routine like quickly. But yeah, I'm excited for 2020, for B, for us, and ongoing support for the community here in Dubai. How about you?
I didn't go away. I was here, but I got a couple of days off. But yes, I'm excited for the year to start and to see what's going to happen with B growing and developing and continuing to support the community and continuing to do these talks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah. So let's start.
Yeah.
So what are the holiday blues? A lot of people think they have an idea of what it is, but they don't really have an idea.
Yeah, they go by a few different names, don't they? Holiday blues, January blues, just getting back to work blues. The name doesn't matter, but what we know is that January, statistically speaking, is the most depressing month of the year. Yes. The 24th of January in particular is, I think for 2020, is the day of the year, unfortunately, where most people experience the highest level of low mood, depressive traits, and suicidal risk and action.
We spoke about that in our last video.
Yeah, we did.
The highest day of suicide tends to be in
worldwide.
January, worldwide, yeah.
Around the 24th, which I think is like the third Monday or Tuesday of the month. There's lots of reasons for it. Some of them we touched on before, but I think it might be useful if we can kind of help people to get back on track a little bit quicker in January, so maybe those blues don't hit so hard.
Don't hit so hard.
So one of the things that I've been really encouraging young people to do, now that schools are back especially, is to try and get back into routine as quick as possible.
Yes.
Now, of course, they have school, so that's a big part of their routine anyway. But I do think that one of the biggest reasons why January is such a hard month is because a lot of us tend to have a bit of an extended time off work, school routine. So our sleep is not as fluid as it was before, and a lot of the times, I don't know about you over the winter period, I know that you were working for some of it, but I wasn't going to sleep at the same kind of time that I do when I'm at work. Going to sleep later, waking up later, not having that structure in my day, and getting back into it very, very quickly can be quite distressing for people. I think, kind of having all that time off, spending it with family, friends, doing lots of fun things, and then you kind of snap back into work or school, almost straight into the new year. It's a tough period, and it's hard for the mind to adjust that quickly to the rush of what January brings. I know for a lot of the young people that I work with, January brings exams, mocks, and not just mocks, but real exams, meaningful exams. That contribute towards their grades, university applications, their final grades at the end of kind of June this academic year. So it's almost like they didn't get too much of a break anyway, because a lot of them would have been studying and revising. But even if they weren't, coming back and having this almost immediate stress of, things they don't slow down in January. If anything within schools, they speed up.
They speed up.
Because there's now only potentially 20 academic weeks at school, if you take out the breaks, for the spring break. In the UK system, we have a week off in mid-February as well, what we call half term. And then schools typically finish teaching around May kind of time to give young people the time to prepare. So there's not a lot of teaching left. And that will now be very much in the forefront of young people's minds. Like, not only do they have a lot to achieve and accomplish over the next few months, but for the ones that will be leaving Dubai, or if they live in countries where they're going to be studying university in the same country or even working, it's like a big end of an era. Schooling is finished and now they have to be this adult, a grown-up. So it's a really, really difficult time for people, especially the young people that I meet with.
Okay. How do you advise them to deal with it?
Well, so far this week, with the young people I've been meeting with, the key thing is helping them with the routine, like I said.
Yes.
So establishing a healthy sleep cycle again, establishing exercise, getting back into kind of either gymming or running, cycling, jogging, skateboarding, anything that they would do before that helped them just to kind of get through the day or the week a little bit more positively. Diet is key as well.
Yes.
You know, making sure that that they're well nourished and that they're eating properly is going to not only lift their mood, but also the endorphins in their body and the chemicals in their body will get back into the structure of having to or being able to deal with their stressful day that they've got coming.
You know what I find a lot happening with people when it comes to diet is that they come back from the holidays, they've put on a little bit of weight because of the lack of exercise and the extra eating. And I mean, it's not overeating, it's fun eating. But they've put on a little bit of weight and they go immediately into this I am dieting mode. So I think that contributes a lot to the holiday blues because they're not eating well, they're kind of malnourished, they're dropping a lot in their calories, maybe over-exercising, not training or just a healthy body, but exercising with the mindset of, I need to drop this weight as soon as possible. So it really affects their mood and affects the sleep. Obviously, when your body's not nourished well, you don't get very good sleep. And then it ends up adding to the pressure, and there's this pressure of, I need to drop this weight as soon as possible, rather than, it's okay, so put on a couple of pounds just because it was the holidays. Once you get back to your regular healthy eating habits and cut down on the alcohol and go back to exercising in a normal fashion, not over-exercising, like your routine, the weight will be dropped off automatically. But I find a lot of people obsess about that, and it just adds to the pressure of coming back from the holidays.
I gotta say, I don't see that a great deal with young people. Like no one certainly so far since I've been working over this last week has mentioned to me anything about gaining a couple of extra pounds or eating a little bit more than they would do. So maybe it's more of an adult?
Well, I only work with adults, so I think, yes, it is an adult concern.
I do know that January is typically the month where gyms expect the highest influx of new registrations.
Yes.
So I think maybe that is a little bit more of an adult type concern, and it fits, doesn't it? Because
it's funny because I was here during the holidays, so I was still exercising. That's the only thing I kept in my routine during the holidays. And the gym was empty. There's no one. And then last Sunday, it's just full on.
It will be lots of new people that have just signed up as well, which is great, of course. Part of a New Year's resolution, and you know, even just to kind of kickstart the year, even if it's a 3-month period, just to get back into it, I think it's a really healthy step to take as well.
Yes, it is. It is. I find it healthy as long as it's kept within a healthy manner.
Like in moderation.
Within moderation, within functional manners. Otherwise, it just exhausts the body.
And can become a bit unhealthy, I would expect. What about adults who have the added pressures of things like the extra expenses over Christmas, all of these kind of burdens that play on their minds?
What I'm seeing a lot is, first of all, stress about a lot of people with the end of the year comes their evaluation, whether they're performed, if you're in sales and marketing, all of that is being evaluated. So that's it gives them a low to start with if they haven't performed as well as they expect, not as well as others expect, or what was high achievers especially. So that's one thing that really adds to it. So they go into January and they're somewhat, there's this full speed. And rather than thinking that, well, it's a marathon, so you better pace yourself and let go on what happened last year. So that's one thing that you definitely see with adults. The other thing is again, the weight, having put on a little bit of weight, alcohol intake. That's a big one with, because the intake of alcohol tends to be higher during the holidays. It's hard for people to just cut it down slowly as they go back into their routine. So that makes sense, and then they struggle because then it affects their sleep and it affects their diet and it adds on to the stress. So it's always good to say, you know what, the first 3 things that you need to do, go back to finding your exercise. So going back to your routine, go back to your exercise schedule or whatever, and then try to have a healthy eating habits. I don't like calling it diets because it's a style of living. I like to have it more of a style of living, and making sure that your body is well nourished. That's very important. And then cutting down on the alcohol is key in that. But you also see the stress with the budgeting. A lot of people are talking about the budgeting for next year, because everybody any adult will plan out how, the expenses, and because they're closing their budget for the previous year and they're starting the new budget, and there's a little bit of stress surrounding that, especially with the expenses that come during the holiday, with the gifts and the traveling and the extra expenses that come in. So those are the main things. Also, I think and I think you see that with younger people as well. It's the excitement of the holidays and having, whether people have gone home or have had others visiting, or even like I was here and just everybody was laid back a little bit. So we were all working, but a day off here or a half day here, you're not really working full time. So it was a lot more social interaction, and then came the Sunday, the 5th of January, when we were all back to work full time, and that drops. And I think that affects people morale a lot in how they are able to go about their days and just not having that social interaction on a daily basis like they used to.
Yeah, it completely makes sense. It almost sounds a little bit like we get into a bit of a slump because of all of the excitement has finished and now we're back into our daily lives. And I think for young people, I do hear this because obviously they're not at school over the period, and they're hanging out with their friends almost every day, doing the fun things that they like doing. I suppose maybe the slight difference with children and young people is that a lot of the friends that they have outside of school will be friends from school. So they still get that interaction on a daily basis, and they still see them, they get to have lunch with most of them, break times, still get to do after school activities. So I think that's maybe less of an interference with young people. But I think a lot of the young people I've seen this week are just desperately looking forward to the weekend already. Even though they've had 3 weeks off school, they're just desperate to get this first week done. A lot of them, it's almost the end of the working week here now in Dubai. They're feeling exhausted. The young people that I met yesterday for afternoon, early evening appointments looked drained. Getting back into the system of school, homework, assignments, just life in general, seems to be really taking its toll. And when you can visibly see that someone is looking pretty exhausted and tired, that kind of gives you some insight into the way that they're thinking as well. It can't be as fluid or as positive as it maybe was before Christmas or at other times, because it's visible that they look very tired and fatigued. So I think it's just about, and what I always tell young people, it's about getting through January. It's not about making it the best or making it fantastic or really happy. It's one way or another, get through it. We know it's a really unpleasant month for a lot of people. January just is. It's a depressing month.
For me, it's always been February.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Because those are my own issues.
Okay, all right. But I think...
It's always been Feb,
yeah?
not January.
Or maybe there's a delay there.
Yeah.
Or it kind of, it's ongoing. But I think it's all about just trying to get through January. You know, it's such a vast change from the end of December and the winter break back into such huge demands again. Just any way you can, get through it with as much positive activity as you can. Yes. See friends, go and hang out, get back into your sports or your activities, your after schools. Don't skip homework, keep on top of it with assignments as well. Eat well, do fun things.
I was thinking about that one of the things is try to find a hobby or something that you actually do enjoy. That has nothing to do with school, that has nothing to do with work, has nothing to do with any of that. And just engage in it, just to have something to look forward to during the month.
What we often find over the winter break, because of the influx of presents and gifts, we play with the new things and kind of forget about all of the old things that made us happy and that we like doing, like drawing or painting, because we've got these maybe new devices or new things that seem like they produce a lot more dopamine for us and they're a lot more exciting. But getting back into the things that we were doing before that we really enjoyed is a really good way to get through January, rather than just relying on the new things that have come about. So I think that's really important as well. Get back to doing some of the things that you were doing in December that you really enjoy.
It's also a month, again, leading up, it's a month that if right after the holidays, if somebody had lost someone or somebody's going through a breakup or something, it's intensified, and then comes the drop of January, so that's even more intensified. So with a lot of people, what you try to tell them to do is reach out as much as you can. People forget, especially in Dubai, because we're all so busy and wrapped up in our own lives, and it is a very fast-paced city. I don't think that individuals here are less genuine than individuals anywhere else in the world. It's just that everybody's so busy, and it makes it harder to reach out. Having a difficult time. Can we meet up? Can we sit and talk? Can we have dinner? And trying to establish those connections in order not to feel so down.
Yeah, I wonder if one of the difficult parts of January in terms of being able to reach out is because everyone's trying to get back into their routine. It's almost like they're additionally busy.
Yes.
Like they've got no time. The backlog of those, maybe that week between the Christmas and New Year, when, you know, businesses still function to a large degree, but people may be on holidays, so they have these backlog of emails, so they're busier. They may feel like they have less time to give, and therefore people don't reach out because they think other people are too busy.
I don't want to burden others, and that's something that I hear a lot. I don't reach out because I don't want to burden others. Well, and that's what I always say, you know what? The other person is also an adult. If they're too busy, they're going to tell you, oh, I can't make it today, but can we push it to tomorrow or something like that. But if you don't ask, you're not going to get anything. But if you ask, you might get what you want, but you might get it postponed a little bit. But just asking for help and reaching out for help is key during this month. That's known to be a difficult month for most people.
It is. I think it's key in for us, we would endorse that it's key for every month, every day. If you want to reach out, you should reach out. And, you know, we all hope that there is someone or people in our lives that if we do reach out to, they will give us the time or try to make the time. Doesn't always have to be hours or days. Sometimes it can just be a 3-minute dialogue. You know, that's enough just to be able to tell someone you're not okay and to have someone to listen. I think it's the same with young people. You know, they, relatively speaking, have really busy schedules compared to adults too. They have the whole school day, the assignments, so they have reduced time to be able to give. But I think as clinicians, we always recommend reach out, speak to people, the people that you trust. For young people, I typically say if you can approach your parents, they're probably a really good first point of call, because they'll always make time for you, even if it's just a few minutes and then it's a topic you have to come back to, or a best friend, a close school teacher, school counsellor, someone. It's, you know, we're big advocates that mental health shouldn't be fought alone. You know, and actually to really overcome a mental health concern, we rely on other people. Even just that human connection can really help in terms of alleviating the symptoms of mental health. So reaching out and you know, sharing difficulties or challenges that you're going through is crucial this month and every month. And I think maybe that's one of the pitfalls that people don't do. Because of the holiday season, they tend to keep a little bit more to themselves. And when they do that, it's almost like you're trying to climb a mountain without the resources.
Exactly. It's like the number one thing is avoid social withdrawal. Avoid that urge to climb back to your bed and stay there, or go to work, run back home, sit, watch whatever shows on Netflix, because it really adds up to a lot of the drop in the mood.
It does.
It does. Just pushing yourself, and it's hard. One of the symptoms of holiday blues is that difficulty to get out of bed, to do the daily things, to go on for a walk. These are the common symptoms, but just pushing yourself to do it, because it will involve some kind of an interaction. When you go down the street and have a walk, you will meet somebody. You'll smile at a stranger, and that will create some kind of a connection.
Or even just eye contact.
Yeah.
Can often, you know, be enough in making you feel noticed to a degree.
And it just feel less isolated.
Yeah. So it's really important. I think lots of these things that we've spoken about are really important in terms of just getting through the month as positively as you can. And then hopefully once February hits and you're back into a little bit more of a system and a structure, it will feel like January was, you know, months ago, and you're back into what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
No, it's, I mean, once February hits, you're like, oh my God, Christmas was so far away.
It almost feels like that now anyway.
Oh yeah.
It does. I think for a lot of people, they'll be feeling like Christmas feels like it was ages ago.
So anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I think the main thing is try to take care of yourself, take care of each other, reach out to people, especially if you know that they've perhaps been going through a bit of a difficult time. Even just acknowledging them, saying hi, Happy New Year, you know, how are you, is just really nice to hear if you're struggling. It's really nice to receive. And I think just do what you can to try and get back to doing some of the things gradually that you were doing before the break that you really enjoy.
That ends our first couch talk for 2020. I hope this helps you with the January blues, and we'll see you again in Feb for our next talk. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and our podcast channel, and let us know what topics you'd like to hear us talk about more. Thank you, Ross.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.